self-knowledge. And what self-knowledge is, it's the part of the intelligence that is far more smarter than book smart, and the golden emotional quadrant, the golden quadrant of emotions. Now, basically, what I mean by that is self-knowledge is something that, you know, you can go to school and you can get book knowledge, but you cannot get self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is something that you have to get on your own. It's where you have to educate yourself. And that's where you have to go above and beyond the degree in order to get self-knowledge. But self-knowledge it just basically comes with our daily activities that we do in life. And basically what self-knowledge revolves around is that you should educate yourself on certain situations and certain things before you pass judgment on them. And that's with everything. That's with people and everything. You should never pass judgment on a person before you educate yourself on that person, because you don't know what that person has been through. You don't know what that person is going through. And if you don't educate yourself on that person and find out what's going on with that person, then you can't pass judgment on them. You can't say that they're not this, that they're not that, because you don't know them. And that's where self-knowledge comes in. It comes in within you being able to educate yourself in certain situations. And it's the same way in in life. When you go through life and you want to make a decision on something, before you pass a judgment upon whatever you plan on making a decision on something, always educate yourself on it. Don't never tell yourself that something does not work or will not work for you when you have not educated yourself on the situation to find out, what's going on with that situation. And that's where the golden quadrant emotional thing comes in, is where you educate. It comes with education, and you want to be able to educate yourself on certain situations before you decide to just say, hey, I'm going to pass judgment on this situation, but I don't know the real deal. So, in other words, what I'm saying to you this morning is, as you go out about the day and use your self-knowledge and educate yourself on the things that you're doing on a daily life, on a daily basis. Find out the history of the things that you're doing, and what it all means, and where it can lead you. And once you get that education, you will know if that's something or not that you should make a decision on, and if it can be profitable in your life, before you just pass judgment upon it and say that it won't work, all because of the simple fact that you didn't allow yourself to educate yourself on that. And the same thing with like daily walks of life. When you're doing your daily walks of life and you're interacting with certain people, don't judge those people based upon what you see on the outside, because you cannot judge a book by its cover, and you cannot judge a book if you have not read through the pages, if that makes any sense. In other words, that's when it comes within education. You cannot just look at a person and say that this particular person is this and that, when you don't know who this person really is. And that's where self-knowledge comes in. You find out the knowledge on someone before you start to pass judgment, because you don't the Bible says, judge not lest ye be judged. So you don't have the right to pass judgment upon nobody if you have not educated yourself on that person, and found out what was going on. And it's the same way in life. Just like, say for instance, if you're going on a certain venture in life, you should educate yourself and get the self-knowledge on that adventure. And it's the same way when you go out, say you're going out and you're looking for a car. When you go out and you're going out to buy a car, you should educate yourself on that car and find out if that car has everything that you need before you just go out and purchase it. don't just go out and purchase it because it looks good, because everything that looks good is not good. So that's why you have to self-educate yourself, and it goes way more. That's where self-knowledge comes in, and it goes way more than just you being able to learn and get it from the books. It's the knowledge that you gain within yourself. So it's like basically like self-education, self-knowledge, and that's what you should do. You should get all the knowledge up on anything before you pass judgment on it. Say for instance, you're getting ready to invest in something. Don't sit up there and say that this investment won't work for you when you've never educated yourself on what it's all about and what it is and how successful other people have been in doing this investment. So that's why I say to you, it's very important for you to know the definition of self-knowledge and know that it revolves around being intelligent. And the only way that you can be intelligent is within education. You have to be able to educate yourself in order to gain intelligence. And then also within your self-knowledge, you can't be emotional. You can't let your emotions take over you gaining your education within your self-knowledge. Because if your emotions get involved within you gaining your education within your self-knowledge, now you feel emotional, and now you're not going to really make a good analyze of getting the real to the bottom line of learning how to educate yourself on self-knowledge, because you're emotional. And then also self-knowledge deals with your character. You have to have a certain character about yourself in order to be able to educate yourself on self-knowledge. And you can't have a character to where, like say for instance, you got a negative attitude. And every time somebody comes around you and says something to you, even if it's something positive, you treat it as negative. You never look at the good side to what they're saying to you. You just always tell them, well, that's not gonna work. I just don't believe that's gonna work. I've never seen nobody make that much money doing that. It's not possible. You cannot say what someone cannot do if you have not educated yourself with the self-knowledge that you need to know all about what they're trying to do. You cannot, because the thing is about it, you're not the one that can tell if something's going to work or not work if you've never tried it yourself. Or you're not the one to pass the judgment upon something or a particular person if you don't know that person, or if you don't know that particular thing that someone is trying to do, or whatever's going on. Because the thing is, when you get to the point to where you are at the point to where everything that you see and do, and you have a negative attitude towards it, you're never going to get to the next level in life. So sometimes you have to, when you find yourself, with a negative attitude, you have to find a way to change that negative attitude into positive, because you're not going to never go to that next level in life with that negative attitude. And that all comes within self-knowledge, educating yourself on certain things that's going on and certain things that's happening. Because if you know a reason why something is happening, now you'll be more accessible to understand the process of what's going on with it. But if you don't know the reason why something is happening, then you cannot understand the process of what's going on with it. You cannot understand, how to do it and what you're supposed to do, because you did not educate yourself. And like I said, it's all right. It's always good, but to have book knowledge, but it's also good to have some type of self-knowledge to where you educate yourself, because a lot of things that was taught to you in school, once you get out here in the world, they some apply and some don't. So you have to you have to find that way to self-educate yourself by having self-knowledge and getting the knowledge that you need in order to know about certain things. You know, say for instance, I'll give you an example. You can never judge the network marketing industry if you've never done it, if you've never did your research on it. You can never call the network marketing industry a pyramid scam if you've never done it, if you've never looked into it, if you've never looked into the people that have been successful, if you have never sat down with someone that has been in the industry and they have told you, you know, how it can be done, and it's not what people think it is, because every network marketing industry that you go into is not a pyramid scam. And you cannot have that negative attitude of thinking that that's what it is, because if you do, you will never be successful in doing it. You know, you have to always educate yourself about it before you judge it. You know, because if you don't educate yourself about it before you judge it, then you'll pass judgment on something, and that could have been the best thing that ever happened to you in your life, and could have created you a better lifestyle of fun, freedom, and fulfillment, but you never gave it a try because people told you, oh, that's a pyramid scam. If I was you, I wouldn't do that. But if you don't know the education on what's going on with a particular concept, you cannot judge it and call it what it is before you educate yourself on it. And that's why it's very important that you gain your education that you need in order to be able to know what's going on in the world and what things in the world that's happening today that is making people very successful. And I can tell you right now, the network marketing industry today has created a lot of success for a lot of people down through the years, and is still doing it. Even when people were saying, hey, you know, this and that, it's no good. You can never make no money in that. The person up here at the top, he's the only one that make the money. The little guy, he's never make no money. But let me look at this. You call the network marketing industry a pyramid scam, but look at your job. If you got a 9 to 5, you categorize your job. And I'll tell you right now, you're working in a pyramid scam, because, and I'll show you, if you look at it, the CEO is up here, and now you got the president, the vice president, and all these people. And then at the very bottom, you got the employees. Now, think about this. How long does it take for an employee, when you're working a 9 to 5, to get a 50-cent raise, a 25-cent raise, a quarter raise? You know, there's been employees that have been on jobs for 15 and 20 years and don't make much more than what they did when they started. Now, you don't call that a pyramid scam? I do, because what it is, all the people at the top are making all the money, and the little people at the bottom are not making anything. But when you get into the network marketing industry, this is how it works. It's based on your effort. The harder you work, the more you gain. So to me, that's not a pyramid scheme. That's just you putting in work to get what you want. And anybody can make any level. All they got to do is put in their effort and do what they need to do. And the reason why I know this is because I educated myself with self-knowledge on the network marketing industry. And now I know that when people tell me that it's a pyramid scam, I don't believe them, because I've been very successful in the industry. And I don't believe that anything that was a pyramid scam, I could never be successful in it. But that's just an example of how you should get that self-knowledge on things before you pass judgment up on them. And it's just like, you know, say for instance that in your daily walks of life, and you're interacting with all these different people in life, and you're doing certain things with these different people, all these people in life that you're interacting with, don't pass no judgment up on none of them if you don't know them, because that can be very damning and detrimental to you as a person, because you could have passed judgment upon a person that could have been the next person to help you get to the next level. But you passed judgment upon that person and you said what they can and cannot do when you did not get the self-knowledge that you needed about that person to know what they were about. You looked at them from the outside and you said, oh man, they'll never accomplish that. But how do you know? You did not look at the inside. See, it doesn't matter what's on the outside of a person. It matters what's on the inside of a person. Because the outside is just the appearance. But the inside is where the heart is. And where the heart is, that's where all the knowledge is on the inside of a person. It's never on the outside. So that's why I say you should never judge a book by its cover. You should never judge a book if you have not read through the pages. So that's what I'm saying to you. Get yourself knowledge that you need on certain things, on people, on concepts, or whatever it may be, because you never know by you not having your self knowledge on a particular thing, how much it could possibly cost you in the long run. It could cost you big. You know, you could have been that first generational millionaire, but you listen to all your friends telling you, if I was you, I wouldn't do that. I don't know nobody that's ever been successful in doing that. Now, why would you listen to them when they don't have what you want? You know, you listen to people that have the self-knowledge and people that is going where you want to go. You know, those are the people that you surround yourself with, because that's how you can get the self-knowledge that you need from them. And you can also get the self-knowledge on your own through reading, through listening to audios, through doing all the things that you need to do your research on a particular thing, situation, place, whatever the case may be. You know, like, say for instance, you're going on a trip. If you're going on a trip, before you take that trip, what do? You get self-knowledge on it. You educate yourself on that trip. You see what's going on that trip. You find out, okay, what has happened in that particular place? Okay, how successful has that resort been as far as with treating customers right? What is the ratio? What is the turnout? How many people have went there to that resort and taken that trip? And now you got that self-knowledge on that, but you educated yourself on it. But say, for instance, if you would have said, well, you know what? I'm not going there because every time I hear somebody talk about it, you know, they had a bad experience. See, the thing is, you educate yourself and you do things for yourself and get your self-knowledge, and don't take other person's opinion, because other people's opinion, if you buy other people's opinion, you buy their lifestyle. And that's the true known fact. But if you sit back and you take time out to educate yourself and get your self-knowledge, in particular about that resort before you go there, now you know the ins and outs about it. And then that person that told you that they had a bad experience, it could have been based on their attitude when they was there and the things that they did and the way that they carried their self. So you cannot take a person's opinion of something until you have tried it for yourself, or until you have went there yourself, or until you have done it yourself. You just never take another person's opinion of something until you get your self-knowledge on it yourself. Because the thing is, the most important thing to you being successful in life is having self-knowledge. Because if you don't have self-knowledge about certain situations that you face in life, how are you going to deal with them? You can't. You know, and then the best thing for you to do is to get that education you need and do the things that you need to do to find out the information that you need. Because anything that you're trying to get knowledge upon, if you can't find it in the dictionary, or if you can't find it, you know, in people or whatever, you keep doing your research. The answer is out there somewhere. And if you want that answer bad enough, you'll keep doing your research until you get that answer, or you'll just buy someone else's opinion and you just won't do it. So a lot of people have missed out on a lot in life that was good for them because they listened to somebody else. And you can't do that. You know, you have to get that self-knowledge that you need for yourself, because that self-knowledge revolves around you in your life, in your lifestyle, and the lifestyle that you're trying to create for yourself. And like I said, once you gain that self-knowledge and you educate yourself on that, whatever that in particular thing is that you're trying to learn about or that you want to know about, now you have that knowledge that you need, and now you can make a good decision. And you will know if that's something that's for you, something that can help you, or you will know if, you know, all this time that I put on this job, is it worth it? Once you educate yourself on where you're going, because you know when you're working on a job, you pretty much know if you're going to advance or not, because you pretty much know what you're going to do and how you're going to get there. And you do know, and you pretty much know, if you educate yourself within what's going on within that company, now you will know if that's where you need to be that can take you to the next level in life. If there is any advancement in the company for you, based upon how it's structured and how it's running, that's what determines if you're going to get to the level you want to get to. And if it's a level, if you've educated yourself on that, and you know for a fact that working that job is not going to get you to where you want to be, then now you should start educating yourself, getting self-knowledge on other things and how to do other things. Now you got more than just one thing that you're focused on. You're focused on other things. You're doing research on other things. And then you never know, you might come across something by you doing your research that fits you perfectly. And it might be what you've been looking for all your life. You know, it might be something that can empower you in a way like no other. You know, like I talked about yesterday, empowering yourself. And that's very important. And the reason why I brought the next topic in today with self-knowledge, because self-knowledge kind of ties into empowerment of yourself. You know, empowerment of yourself is motivating yourself, keeping yourself to a certain limit, setting your goals and doing what you need to do. But self-knowledge is educating yourself. And that's the most important thing, because, you know, we're all taught, go to school, get good grades, graduate with honors, go to college and get a good job, and the rest is history. But the thing is, what we don't know, to be honest with you, that's a slave mentality. And I'm gonna tell you why it's a slave mentality, because of the simple fact that, number one, your time broke, because you spend all that time on that job and you never have no time to spend with your family. Number two, you're living from paycheck to paycheck. And then number three, if you went to school and you got loans, you're drowning in about from $80,000 to $100,000 in student loan debt. So how is that not a slave mentality? What did that do? That means you have a master. That job is your master. That job tells you when to come in. That job tells you when to get off. And if you don't do accordingly to what that job tells you to do, then you don't get paid. You're trading time for dollars. Now, if you gain self-knowledge and you self-educate yourself, and you find out that there are other ways that you can make just as much money as you was making on that job or more, and you can live way better than how you was living on that job. Once you educate yourself on certain things before you pass judgment on it, now you'll start to see the difference in how you can improve your life. But you cannot improve your life or your lifestyle if you're not willing to get the self-knowledge that you need so you can. Now I'll say that again, because I don't think you got that. You cannot improve your life or your lifestyle if you're not willing to get the self-knowledge that you need in order to improve your life. That's just the bottom line. But it starts within you. You have to be that person that you chose to be. You have to be that person that you chose to say, hey, you know what? I know, I understand that, you know, I've been working this 9 to 5, but I've been taking a look at things and it's just not getting me to where I want to be. But I see all these other people, you know, being so successful, and they're talking about how successful they are in doing this and doing that. Hey, why don't I research? Why don't I get some self-knowledge on this and see what this is all about, and see if it's for me? Because you never know if something is for you if you don't give it a try. You know, if you always pass judgment on it and say, well, I can't do that. I've never been able to do that in my life. I'm not going to be able to do that. That negative mindset is not going to get you nowhere. You got to learn how to adopt a positive mindset and get that self-knowledge that you need so you can get to the next level in life. But if you always sit back and all you have to do or say is negative to yourself, to people, then you're not getting that self-knowledge that you need in order to go to that next level in life. And you're not going to get there. It's just a known fact, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. That's why I say self-knowledge is very important before you pass judgment upon a person, upon a situation, upon a concept. Anything that you do in life requires self-knowledge. Because if you don't have self-knowledge, you're not going to be able to do the things in life. Because like I said, there's a lot of things that they didn't teach us in school that we have to teach ourselves. And it comes within having self-knowledge. If you don't have self-knowledge, then you're not going to be able to push on to the next level in life, because you're stuck at a place in life to where you feel like you can't go no further because you didn't get that self-knowledge to educate yourself how you could go to another level in life, how you could go further in life, because you never took a chance. You know, and like I said, me, myself personally, the reason why I do what I do today is because I gained the self-knowledge that I needed to know how I could get to where I am today. But was it easy? No, it wasn't. But here I was a man that was determined to make a change in my life because I wasn't happy with where I was. And I don't know if some of you all out there are in that position right now, but my advice to you is, if you want to go to the next level in life, then gain some self-knowledge, and then it'll get you there. Because once you gain self-knowledge and you self-educate yourself, now you know which way you want to go. It's not like you're just going backwards and forwards. Now you have a direction. Now you have a destination. And when you gain self-knowledge, that helps you set a destination to go where you want to go, to be what you want to be, to do what you want to do. But it all starts with self-knowledge, and that's educating yourself about the things that is going on around you and the things that you are hearing, and not passing judgment upon them when you don't have the knowledge about them. And that's all right. And that's the same way, like I said, with people. Don't judge people if you don't know them. You know, don't criticize people if you don't know them. Don't put people down if you don't know them, because you never know their story and what they went through and the reason why they are to the way they are today. You know, if you don't know somebody, don't judge them. Go up to them and try to talk to them and say, hey man, what's going on? You know, my name is Greg Young, man. I'm just here, you know, to see what's going on with you. You know, I have noticed some things that's going on with you, and maybe, you know, we can sit down and talk about it, and maybe I can help you in some kind of way. Because the thing is, if you're not trying to help somebody, why try to knock them down? Why try to criticize them? Why try to put them down? And if somebody is trying to go to another level in life and you're not trying to support them, just stay out from around them and don't do nothing and don't say nothing. Because if you cannot keep the words of encouragement in your mouth for other people, then just don't say nothing. If you ain't got something good to say about somebody that's going to encourage them to get to the next level in life, then don't even talk about it, because it's not worth it. But that only revolves around people. The people that do that is the people that don't have self-knowledge. That's why I say self-knowledge is really important. When you educate yourself about people, about situations, about things, and the only way you're going to educate yourself about people is to ask questions. Ask people questions. Say, hey, I noticed this, man. What's going on? When you see somebody different than how they used to be, don't just talk about them. Go up to them and ask them, say, hey, man, I noticed you got a different attitude now, man. What's going on in your life? Is there anything going on in your life that I can possibly help you with? Is there anything going on in your life that you possibly want to sit down with me and talk about? And then maybe I can give you some type of advice on how to get to that next level, rather than just sitting back and saying, well, I don't know what's wrong with him today. He has an attitude today. Do you know why he has that attitude? Do you know what he has went through? Have you even asked him? No, you haven't. You just passed judgment upon him, and you did not get the self-knowledge upon that person. And that's why I say, don't pass judgment upon people if you don't know their story. Like I say, you can't walk a mile in my shoes if you've never taken one step in them, if that makes sense to you. And what I'm saying by that, you cannot walk a mile in my shoes if you've never taken one step in them. That's meaning if you've never taken one chance to get to know me. That's how you take steps in my shoes, is when you find out who I am as a person. But you can't walk a mile in my shoes if you've never taken one step in them, because you didn't take time out to get to know me. You just passed judgment upon me, and then you just came straight up to me and you just told me, well, Greg, what you're doing is not going to work. But you never once took the time out to educate yourself, to get the self-knowledge upon what I was doing. You just passed judgment. And you cannot do that, because a lot of times when you pass judgment upon a person or a situation, it could be detrimental to you. You could be passing judgment upon a situation or a person, and that could have been that person that could have helped you tremendously. That could have been that person that could have gotten you to the next level. That could have been that concept or that idea that could have made you the first generational millionaire, but you never tried it. You never got self-knowledge on it, and you just made a decision that it wasn't going to work because you heard what other people have said about it. But like I said, everybody has an opinion. But why would you take somebody else's opinion when you've never taken a chance to get the self-knowledge on what they're talking about? Why would you do that? Because a lot of times you sell yourself short in life because you don't educate yourself on things. You don't get the knowledge that you need on things and particular things because of the simple fact that you don't want to. All you want to do is just stay that negative person and keep trying to tear everybody down instead of building somebody up. But my message to you this morning is, stop talking about people if you don't know their story. Go up to that person and ask them, hey, what's going on, man? I see this, I see that's happening, man. What's going on with you? Is there something I can do to help? Is there some kind of words of encouragement I can give you? And then my advice to you, don't never say you cannot do something if you've never tried it. And don't never believe what someone else says about something if you've never tried it. And don't never judge somebody unless you know them. If you don't know them, you cannot judge them. And that's just the way it is. And that's where self-knowledge comes in. It's within yourself. And like I said, you can't get it from books. It's a far more intelligence than book smart. So you can be book smart You can have more degrees than a thermometer, but when it comes to self-knowledge, you can be brain dead. You cannot have a lick of knowledge when it comes to self-knowledge, but you have all the book knowledge in the world. That's not good to have book smarts and not self-knowledge, smartness. The two go hand in hand, because once you go beyond the book smartness, now you got to get some type of self-knowledge. Now you got to educate yourself about certain things that's going on. You know, you can't pass judgment on something that you don't know nothing about. I'll say that again. You cannot pass judgment on something that you don't know nothing about. You cannot pass judgment upon a person that you don't know. That's just a fact. You just can't do it. And that's the reason why I keep repeating that, because I really want you to get that, because that's very important, because your self-knowledge determines your next destination in life by educating yourself. And like I said, right now, if you haven't went out there and educated yourself and got self-knowledge and started doing research on certain things and figured out certain things with using self-knowledge and educating yourself on self-knowledge, I suggest you do, because it's very important that you educate yourself on self-knowledge, because if you don't, you're gonna miss out on a lot. You never know what you might miss out on. You might miss out on being the next first generation of millionaire because you didn't educate yourself. You told yourself something was not gonna work based upon what everybody else has told you in the past, based upon what everybody else has said about things in the past, but you never once got that education about it. You never once educated yourself on that particular situation, and you never took it to a level to where you could educate yourself on it. So, like I said, I just like to thank each and every one of you all for stopping by my morning inspiration this morning. And I hope and I pray that something that I said resonates with you, to where it causes you to think, man, Greg said that. But you know, when you find yourself in those situations to where you want to judge somebody you don't know, think about what I said about self-knowledge. When you find yourself in those situations and you're thinking about doing something, but people have told you that it won't work, think about what I said about self-knowledge. Educate yourself on it, because you never know how powerful the mind is until you educate it with self-knowledge. Once you educate the mind with self-knowledge, it's very powerful. It's more powerful than having the book smarts. It's more intelligent than having the book smarts. You're able to move to a higher level than having the book smarts. So, like I said, just think about that, you know, and I appreciate each and every one of you all for stopping by my live this morning, on my morning inspiration. And do me a favor, like, comment, and share. Because I know there's somebody out there in the world today that needs to hear this message about self-knowledge, because they probably didn't even know what self-knowledge was. They probably didn't even know the word existed. So I want to be able to get as much positive messages across the world as I possibly can. But I can only do it with you all's help, with your like, comments, and shares on what I'm saying each and every morning on my morning inspiration. And now again, tomorrow, you don't want to miss tomorrow's morning inspiration, because I got another topic for you that's going to knock your socks off. It's going to educate you in a good way. So don't miss morning inspiration. And like I said, God bless each and every one of you all. I thank you. I appreciate your support in watching my morning inspirations. I love each and every one of you all, and God loves you, and so do I. And whatever you're doing today, just think about self-knowledge, educating yourself on situations before you pass judgment, because that's what self-knowledge is all about. It's an intelligence beyond book smarts, but it comes within self-educating yourself, which gives you the self-knowledge. So, like I said, like, comment, and share on this video. I love each and every one of you all. And if you're going out the door to work this morning, think about self-knowledge. You know, if you're working from home and you're dealing with people, think about self-knowledge before you pass judgment up. You know, when you pick up that phone to call that person, and then that person may be, you know, negative, but try to turn a negative conversation into positive. You know, say something good about that person. And you never know how a good morning, a hello, how you doing? You know, you look very nice today. You know, how those kind words, how far that will go with you as a person and how much it will touch the next person's heart, you know, because you're self-educating yourself, self-knowledge. You're getting it, and that's what everybody needs to know. Everybody needs to know how to self-educate themselves and get and gain self-knowledge. So when it comes down to making a particular decision, or when it comes down to taking a look at something, they'll be more sensible to look at it and not pass judgment on it and say, "Nah, I'm not gonna do that." Always educate yourself, because that's the most important thing in life, and it takes you far in life when when you get that self-knowledge and that self-education. And like I said, once again, I love each and every one of you all, and have a blessed day. Stay safe, and don't miss tomorrow's morning inspiration. And I love you, and God loves you too, and goodbye.